Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Welcome back to C Gonna Speed 252 YouTube channel, and I appreciate you pushing that play button. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, please do. You can definitely follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and you see my handle above, which is C Gonna Speed 252. So today's video is going to be a little bit different. We're going to talk about the Ford Mustang, not just any old Ford Mustang. We're going to talk about the Ford Mustang GT500. Now, I know a lot of you on the channel love Corvettes, and Corvette is something that we talk about a lot. But with this channel, I like to talk about, lots of different cars. And I think YouTube probably categorizes me as a Corvette channel. But at the end of the day, like I said before, I love cars. I know you all have a passion for cars. And I know there are some people that's a part of the channel that own Mustangs, who had Mustangs in the past. Currently own Mustangs and Corvettes, currently own Mustangs and Ferraris. So I kind of want to talk about this Mustang because it's something that has been talked about recently at the Detroit Auto Show. Now, before I hop into the information that I've recently gathered from the Detroit Auto Show and other people regarding this Ford Mustang, I had some people ask me, have I ever owned a Ford Mustang before? I actually have not. I grew up, pretty much owning a Ford. I grew up with a Ford Topaz, and that was my first Ford vehicle and my only Ford vehicle thus far. And most of my family members own Ford currently, and I wanted to be different from them, so that's why I bought a Chevrolet. And that's why I have a Pontiac, and I bought a Silverado, and I bought a Corvette, and I have a Camaro. Let me remind you, I own a Chevrolet Corvette, but my true honest opinion about this Mustang that's sitting in front of me right now, it is bad to the bone. This is one good-looking Mustang, I must tell you that. I can't lie, it's a good-looking Mustang. Now, I can't go on and talk about the front end of the car without talking the back end about the car. A lot of people had a discussion regarding the C8 miniature Corvette and how they don't like the rear end of the car. But looking at the rear of this Mustang, I'm not going to lie, I truly do like it a lot. The spoiler is phenomenal. The back of the Mustang looks similar to all the previous Mustangs I've seen recently. But as a total package, this car looks really great to me. I'm not saying I would have any interest in buying it, but I definitely can see myself driving one if it was given to me. Like, if a Mustang was given me, I would totally drive it, hands down. I would drive the heck out of it and probably sell it later on. But I think this is a great looking Mustang. So before I get into more details and information that I've gathered from the Detroit Auto Show, give me some reasons to why you would like to own a Mustang, or reasons why you wouldn't own a Mustang. And if you actually do like these Mustangs by the two photos I just showed you now, from the front view of the car and from the back end of the car, what are some things you like about it and what are some things you do not like about it? Are any of you actually considering this Ford Mustang GT500? Or any of you currently having a Mustang right now? Give me your thoughts on what you think about this new Mustang that's coming out. It should be here pretty soon, according to what they said at the Detroit Auto Show. And I know a lot of people who, like me, who are in the market for the C8 can't wait for it. I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that can't wait for this Mustang to be sold as well. So let's talk about some things that they mentioned about this car at the Detroit Auto Show. One thing that stood out to me, I'm sure that stood out to a lot of people, we all, wait for specs and numbers. And one huge thing that they said was this car will have over 700 horsepower. Now, that's a lot of horsepower for a daily driver. I know a lot of people have concerns about, how much horsepower is enough for daily driving. Any typical car you pretty much have, regardless of the horsepower, you can daily drive any car. It's up to you whether or not you want to drive that car carefully with the amount of horsepower that comes with that car, or the amount of horsepower that you add into that car. On a further note, if this car is coming with 700 horsepower, my question is, how much will this car actually cost? Because this ain't just no regular old Mustang. This is a GT500. So at the end of the day, I can tell you one thing. This car is going to be pretty much probably over $100,000. Here's my question to you. Do you think this car will cost over $100,000 or under $100,000? And are you willing to pay over $100,000 for this Ford Mustang GT500? So let's get into some more facts that was actually covered at the Detroit Auto Show. And once again, I personally was not there. These are things that they pretty much said up today regarding this car. I know a lot of people have a lot of interest in this car, so I want to talk about some of the specs that's about this car. They said this car will not be a manual. So for all you manual lovers out there, you can cancel it. So that being said, now are you still willing to pay $100,000 for a car that's not a manual? Because I know a lot of people in the sports car world just truly love manuals. You have people that love automatics. Like, I love an automatic. I don't think I would ever go buy a manual. I wouldn't want to. But I feel like the sports car world just love manuals. And now you have a Mustang that does not have a manual. So, would that be an issue? Do you think the sales will decrease because of that reason? Do you think the sales will increase because of that reason? What are your thoughts on this Mustang not being a manual and only going automatic? One other thing I'd like to point out to y'all is that since this car will not be a manual, it will come with a 7-speed dual clutch. Now, for the most part, I heard a lot of people in the car world are going to dual clutches. You know, as we talked about before, we talked a C8 mid-engine Corvette, right? And a lot of us are talking about the 8-speed automatic that we currently have in our C7s right now, and it's currently in a couple of other Chevrolet products, and how the 8-speed automatic transmission is just, a lot of people are having a lot of issues with it. So we hope that GM is actually moving to the dual clutch transmission. And at this point, with Ford putting in the 7-speed dual clutch transmission in inside of a Mustang that's a front engine car, I truly hope that Chevy decides to put a dual clutch inside of the mid engine Corvette as well. Would you prefer a 7-speed dual clutch transmission with this amount of horsepower? So let's get into some more details about this Ford GT500 Mustang. So one thing that's going to come with this car, as you can see here in the photo, is bimbo brakes. Now, bimbo brakes is something that we pretty much all experienced in the car at one point, right? Like, for instance, with my C7 Corvette, the bimbo brakes I really didn't like that much because it came with a lot of brake dust, but bimbo brakes I heard is one of the best brake pads and stuff that you can buy, which is completely fine. But a lot of us just hate the brake dust that's going to come on with bimbo brake pads. And so I wonder, will they get the same type of brake pads that I pretty much had on my C7, or you get the same type of brake dust that I pretty much had on my C7. But at the end of the day, this car will come with Brembo brake pads, and a lot of people love it. So I don't see a big point in not getting Brembo brake pads with this type of car. Another thing that will come with this car is the Michelin Pilot Sport 2 tires. Now, those are tires that actually come on a Z06 and a Grand Sport as well. So I can actually see that this car will be a high performance car, but for the tires that is coming with this car, is mainly meant for the track and not for the drag strip. And so with 700 horsepower, a lot of people consider that being drag racing horsepower instead of track horsepower. With that being said, Ford did mention that this car isn't built for drag racing, but they're aiming for people that love to go to the track. So my question is, you have 700 horsepower that's put into this Mustang, and they said it's not built for drag racing, but it's built for the track. Do you think people will be able to put down all this power, 700 horsepower, on the track? Because, I've talked to a lot of people that go to the track, and a lot of them that currently own C7 Corvettes said they prefer to have the C7 Corvette Grand Sport for the track than they do the Z06 because they're not able to put down 650 horsepower. And so on top of that, do you think they will be able to put down 700 horsepower in the Ford Mustang GT? What is your thoughts on that? Do you think they will literally be able to put down 700 horsepower on a track? And I trust and believe, I truly believe that some people that buy this car will put it on a drag strip, and I think it will probably perform well on a drag strip. Here's my question to all of you who goes to the drag strip or goes to the track. If you bought this car, which would you use on the most? Would you use it for the drag strip, or will you take this car mainly to the track? Give me your thoughts on that. So let's talk about some more things that come with this car, this GT500. And let's talk about this spoiler since we actually on this photo. Like I said earlier in the video, I'm a big fan of this spoiler. I'm a huge big fan of big wings on the back of the cars, especially, with the downforce you would need to, for the track and things like that. And I think this spoiler like this comes from the GT4 race car, which is nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with taking apart from another vehicle and put another car that makes it look great, because I absolutely like the way this Mustang looks. I don't know if a lot of people are big fans of spoilers, but I currently am, and I will say I'm a big fan of this spoiler for sure. Ford also said today that this car does not come with the flat plane screamer that comes in most Mustangs like people love back in the day, like the GT350. This car will come with a 5.2 liter V8 as well. Now, while we're in the process of talking about the 5.2 liter V8, let's talk about that this car will come with a supercharger. Now, like I said, the Z06 comes with a supercharger. I currently own a C7 Grand Sport that does not come with a supercharger, and a supercharger definitely makes a big difference in the vehicle's performance all day long. For instance, this comes with a 2.65 liter blower. As I remind you, this is an aluminum block. Now, that 2.65 liter blower will be stuffing pretty much up to 12 pounds of cool air into this engine. That's a lot. That's really a lot. I can't really remember how big the blower is on the current 2019 Z01s, but that's a big blower. 2.65 is a big blower. So this supercharger is going to be something else. It's going to be something special for this Ford GT for sure. Let's go with a few more specs that this car has that they mentioned at Detroit Auto Show. This car will go from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. That is pretty quick in my personal opinion. Also, they said this car will do 11 seconds in a quarter mile. That is also pretty good for this Ford Mustang as well. One other thing that they mentioned in the Detroit Auto Show about this car is that they said this is the quickest accelerating Mustang that was ever built, along with the most powerful street-legal V8 that Ford has ever built as well. That's pretty tough. That's a really big ordeal for this Ford Mustang for sure. Once again, is any of you actually considering this Mustang? And if so, Do you currently own a Mustang right now, and how do you feel about this Mustang? Thank you for pushing that play button. Thank you for being a part of the channel today. If you haven't subscribed to Seek on the Speed 252, I would love to have you a part of the community. And once again, I catch you in that episode of Seek on the Speed 252.